120 seconds. 110 seconds. 100 seconds. 90 seconds. 80 seconds. 70 seconds. 60 seconds. 50 seconds. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
All right, my friends, it's time to get our talk on. It's Morning Talk with me, your host, J. McCauley. In the background, Jay Hogarth on Vibraphone. This is where I was last Friday. I was at Van Gelder Studio in Inglewood, I think it is, or Inglewood Cliffs in New Jersey. Right across like 3 minutes off the George Washington Bridge on the Jersey side. And it was phenomenal. 2 days of in the studio with that gentleman right there, Jay Hogarth. And it was a blast. An absolute blast. They did like 12 or 16 songs. and off his forthcoming album, and it was just a blast. But good morning, welcome. Did a little change up on our opening theme, and so that's where I was. It was.
For 2 days?
Well, Friday was set up.
Oh, and Saturday you did it.
We actually, I did some taping Friday, but Friday was kind of like rehearsal, moving piano around and drums around, and because everything has to be perfectly situated and set up within the environment to get the particular sound that you want. And that's what Friday was all about. So, then Saturday was recording from like 10 a.m. until like 9, straight through.
10 to 9 at night?
Yeah.
Oh my! You filmed all that time?
Oh yeah. Long. We were in there longer than that, but yeah. But that's what we do. So it was
that's
fun.
That's what we do.
That's
you
what we do.
How you part of the band too? I hear that. You part of the club.
That's what we do. So but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and talented people, to say the least. So yeah.
So you got to talk to everybody and.
Oh yeah. There's no. I think to me, I can only speak for me. A lot of people. Some people like playing basketball. Others like going skiing, football, whatnot. I love music, but in particular, I like being in the environment of creatives and musical people who are creative musically, like musical geniuses. So like Jay Hogarth, I'm in the studio oftentimes with Ronnie Song, and so it's interesting to see the creative process unfolding, and the way because as an observer, music seems to be a language that people can speak to each other, and they're creating it, and expressing themselves.
I certainly get it. I love being with people who read and people who poetry and. I love all of that stuff. Storytellers, I love being around storytellers. So I understand your feeling.
So, yeah. So how was your week there, Miss Cleo?
Oh, extremely busy. But it's coming to, it was worth it. It was all worth it. It's coming to an end here. I'll be 90% sure I'm going to be moving. 90% sure.
90% sure.
Yes, I don't know what a conditional approval means. It means I may have a couple of more things to do, but basically I'm approved. So up to a point, I guess. So I have to take this class. So a lot of you probably know about that class. I said, I gotta take a class. But when I pulled up on the class and I started doing it. Oh, all the mistakes, all the pitfalls. After reading my hand out, I've been through every single one of them, and I'm saying, "Oh my God, is that what I should have done? Oh my goodness, why didn't I grow up?" I mean, I just kept hitting myself in the head and saying, I agree with them. Everybody who buys a property or buys a home needs this course if they weren't brought up already kind of in that environment and learning about it. Because I'm looking at this, make sure it's time for you to buy a house. You can save and buy later. You don't have to put yourself in this position now. So you ask yourself these questions. And when I bought my first house, it was a joke. I mean, not a joke, but I just bought a house. I didn't think I was becoming another parent. I mean, I need to take care of the house. You need to do this. You need to put this budget. I have just never done that, but I could see so clearly after the mistakes, the multitude of mistakes that I've made, that my life would have been so much easier.
So that's
So I'm learning from this. So I'm not minding going through this.
you said something that I guess people who own houses or have owned a house clearly experience, but I guess they think of it that way. But you said something that's really profound. A child, a house is a dependent.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think of it as a living, breathing thing that's dependent upon you to take care of it. And I don't think that people think of themselves as taking care of the house. They just think of themselves, I think, as living in it. But you take care of the house more almost than you take care of your children.
Yes, and you'll be taking care of it as long as you own it.
As long as you own it.
And the young man that I take care of on a daily basis, when we leave the house and I lock up, put the alarm on, he always says, Cleo, say bye house. So I said, oh, right, bye house, and we're driving away, and he's saying bye house, and when we come back to the house, he says, hi house, and so I'm doing this course, and I'm saying, he's absolutely right. It might as well be a living, breathing thing, because we have to take care of it, and we don't take care of it, it's going to fall apart. And I've had homes to fall apart. And so I said, oh, my goodness. As a young woman, I just thought I had a house that I got. So now that was on the list for what you need to do for the American dream. But as I went on, I realized, oh, my God, this American dream is a weight on you. Such a weight on you. I said, where's the dream? Where's the this? Where's the that? This thing is killing me. So it was nice to, and I say, finally, I'm ready for this, and I can know what this is gonna be such a pleasure for me, because I've never gone in with the same mindset that I have right now.
Yeah, I wonder if homeowner. I wonder if the American dream is up there with, Leave It to Beaver and the Andy Griffith Show.
Absolutely.
There's this concept that people still to this day talk about. The American dream and homeownership, and I think it's one of the best sales pitches, marketing campaigns
that
ever was.
That's right.
And people, they sacrifice, they scrimp, they save, and they break even in the end, if they're lucky.
And he's saying, it was. You don't have to buy a house if you're not ready for a house. If you're not the kind of person that should buy a house. Now they gave you all these types. Everybody shouldn't own a home. And so it goes down to things. Some people, if your life is fast and you travel this way, maybe it's renting is okay with you, and it gives you the pros and it gives you the cons of each, and the types of people who maybe should think about not owning a home, but renting, and those people who are willing to do this, that, the other thing. A home is probably right for you, but if you're not saving any money, you're not putting any money in the bank for the rainy day, which will come.
Absolutely. If you own it comes anyway. But if you own a home,
it will come. The roof will fly off one day, or a pipe will break, or something will happen, and you need a contingency fund. My realtor said to me when I was looking at condos, saying, we have to check out the HOA, the people committees, He says, because we have to know whether they have enough of a contingency fund to take care of something if something happens. If they don't have any money, we don't want to go in there, because if it could happen tomorrow and your HOA is going to go up. So do not, if they're not set and they don't have, and banks ask these questions. So I'm thinking, oh, that's a condo or something like that. Never thinking until I started doing this course. That's you too. You have to have a contingency fund for your house.
So the HO, that's the homeowners association.
Uh-huh.
Right? For most condominiums will have a homeowners association, and you have to be prepared for those rate. Now that your contribution to it annually or monthly, however it's done, goes up sometimes if there are needs shared by everybody.
Right.
And so I guess if you're going to buy a condo, you need to consider how solvent is that fund, because your potential increase could be linked to that. But your home that you own doesn't have an association. It just has your wallet.
And you still need a contingency fund. Oh, God. So, what do you need a contingency fund for your home? You need a contingency fund for your car?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have no money and that car breaks down, what do you do?
Well, then you're in a heap of trouble. And these are things that you should have. You really shouldn't have to put that on your credit card,
right,
or take out a short-term loan, because I guess technically, if you have to finance it, you can't afford to buy it now. And there's some things you obviously finance, and it's not an issue. And then there are other things you should never be financing, like groceries, stuff that you like, televisions, stuff people put on credit cards. They should just pay cash for.
Right. They should,
or just save until you have enough money, because otherwise, the interest rates you're paying all kinds of other people money because you don't have the patience or the discipline to save.
Right, and that's what I'm sort of getting out of here, and putting down one month they're suggesting that write down everything you buy just for a whole month, because you really don't realize how much money you really do have, and and at the end of the month you add all that up, and that's what you need for the month, and take out all the other stuff that you spend your money on that you don't, or cut it down, so you at least have money to save. Always pay yourself first. So you always put something in savings every time you get paid. So these are things I knew and didn't know. I've tried budgets. I just didn't have the patience for them. I just didn't have the patience for them. But I see people do that, and it's a good thing. So now I'm really wanting to do this. I really feel more confident in myself right now. And I said, well, I'm old now, so let me use these last years to make some sense. Let me make these last years to get some patience and to relax and not be so anxious. Because when you live moment to moment, you're always anxious because you don't know what's going to be next. So I'm feeling good about it.
Well, during the week, I guess it's this week, so much has happened in the last 7 days. It seems like a blur. So it was last Friday that we did a repeat. So Monday, wow. To me, it seemed like it was a month ago, but this Monday just passed. The Environmental Protection Agency was here in Hartford, and they were over at the American Legion listening to some of the horror stories of people whose basements were flooded. You talk about the American dream. Imagine having your American dream in terms of your basement or a business that you buy get flooded out by sewage. All right. And I don't care how people want to process it. Now, obviously, a flood is a flood is a flood. Every year you see floods down in Mississippi, all over the world there are floods. That's out of everybody's control. I mean, if the whole town gets flooded, we understand that, but flooding where water is not able to be evacuated from, because systems aren't built sufficiently to allow the water to escape is a problem. If sewage gets in your house, that to me is a problem, because the sewage comes from your toilet, and you should never have enough sewage in your own house to flood your basement. So it has to be coming from outside your house into your house. Mm-hmm. And so it's a real simple premise. Some of the testimonies were incredible. So I'm gonna play one of these testimonies from.
And where is this testimony coming from? What's Hartford?
This woman is in Hartford. Her business is on Albany Avenue, and it's gut wrenching. It's gut wrenching to hear her testimony. But this was Monday past. You can watch this on the whatever medium you're watching us on now. You can watch this. It's gotten plenty of coverage in the newspaper, front page news, in the Current. Others have written about it. Paper in New Haven, I think, wrote Channel 8 News. Everybody's been covering this story because there's a story here. There's a story, and they're gonna get to the bottom of this. But the EPA regional administrator came to hear for himself the testimonies, because of course they sent an inspector down, and the inspectors were told when they came that they couldn't come and talk, so they didn't come. So that created some pushback, and now their boss's boss came, and Senator Blumenthal was there, and listen to the testimony here of this woman, and judge for yourselves. Let me cue this up because this is
120 seconds.
and we're not gonna do the seconds countdown. Where's my I see what I did wrong. You gotta love live television though. It was supposed to play when I did the cue up, and then play. Here we go.
Self. Oh, come on. Whoever wins gets up here first wins.
The regional administrator is the gentleman sitting directly behind Attorney Jennings there.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joan Facey. Putting myself out here for my community. People who look like me, who live here and work here, and we're not having any justice. I own the property at 677 Albany Avenue in the corner of Magnolia Street. There was an abandoned house behind my property, and it was taken down between the city of Hartford and the MDC. After they took the house down, we started to have problem in my sewer line. I called the MDC, they came out to my property, they put a camera in, and they said my system had collapsed. I don't think so, because I know how this thing works. I called the MDC and I asked them, can I have a copy of the diagram where I enter your sewer system? They said they'll get back to me next day. Next day, I get an email to say they don't have a copy because when they took over, they didn't have plans then. After that, flood came, and it ruined my property. And what really happened, front of the building is flat roof. The water goes down in the column like that, and it goes through the sewer system. Now the sewer is blocked, the water had nowhere to go. And all the sewer and everything came in my building, and it ruined it. There's a restaurant there that cannot be used because the whole place was full of sewage. I've gone to the MDC, I reached out to the city of Hartford to put me back where I was prior to this. Until this day, city of Hartford never came in to see what happened. When the NDC came, they humiliated me. They said they saw no sewage. I said to them, we don't live like that. This happened in June. And in October, the city of Hartford connect back my system to the sewer. What happened to all that sewer all that time? The city did came and removed the tenants to a hotel. When the tenants went to the hotel and they were there, they said it was so disgusting. They came back and they stayed upstairs. When the water comes in from the street, it's above the basement in the roof. So the cold water did not get into the sewer because everything is downstairs. And I've been fighting. The worst part of it, when all of this was going on, I was in a car accident. I was laid up. The city says, why didn't I report it before now? It's when someone went there that they found out what has happened with the water. Everything is ruined. And I'm standing here and I'm telling you, MDC says to me, they would not even replace all the hot water heater, the furnace that has been through the sewer. But they did it in West Hartford. And when they did it in West Hartford, I have a tape with Mr. DeBella saying they're gonna make them whole and have the contractor pay for it. The city of Hartford has insurance and MDC had insurance. I only happen to be a neighbor. Why should I be standing here telling you the same story when my property has not been sanitized? It's $8,000 just to do the sanitize. The grease trap is over $3,000. And all that plumbing will have to be redone because the sewer went up through it. Because it has nowhere to go when they backed it up. And MDC tell me it's not possible. So where did the sewer go if it was locked? This is not fair. I have pictures of sewers being pumped into the backyard because the church was flooded with sewer too, because the tree property was tied into one lateral, and they said they didn't know. I understand that. It's an accident. But why should I be standing here telling the same story? I'm not asking for everything. All I'm asking, clean my property and make it back the way it was. I did not do anything wrong. There are children walking by on the sidewalk where all that sewer was. That's not fair. There got to be some justice here. I have people there on the avenue every time that the rain falls, sewer come up in their basement. There got to be something done. There's a whole lot of money right now in the infrastructure program in Washington. At least they could come and at least put in a new sewer line so we can live, eat, and drink just like anyone of people in Hartford. We need a voice here. And I'm surprised because the city of Hartford, they had a facade program and they have grants. I'm not looking for a grant. Why couldn't they have a loan program that I could apply to? I have equity in my property. I can stand on my own. I'm not looking for charity. There has to be some justice for people like me. It's happening, but everyone is afraid to talk. But I have to tell my story. And I want people to see my face. Because I've worked all my life. That property, I took my 401k out and I bought it. When I bought it, my husband was mad. I said to him, it's not every day you're not going to be able to punch the clock. And right now, I'm in that position. I can't punch the clock. But I have a restaurant there with every equipment. Every equipment. And the biggest issue is sanitizing, cleaning, and repair all the plumbing. And I can't do it. Because I have to know where the mortgage is coming from. I'm still standing. I have 2 light bills, 2 gas bills, 2 this, 2 that, 2 water bills. And I still have to be paying them, and I haven't worked. It's not right. The city should have a program for people like me to give me a loan so I can help myself. Or whatever repair needs to be done. It's not right. People are hurting.
Thank you so much. And
Now,
thank you very much.
this goes
for your
on for an hour and a half.
And let me just say that
Oh my
people
God.
who are
Testimony after testimony after testimony. Former Representative Kenny Green's house. His car got ruined floating in this stuff.
In the sewage?
Sewage. He's down on Granby Street, which they spent a whole lot of time
That's
supposedly repairing.
and it's still not repaired. I looked at a house on Hartford Street, and I'm going downstairs,
Mm-hmm.
and I see this big hole in the floor with a big fat pipe, and this is big pile of stool, and I said to the realtor, that looks like feces. Is that feces? And she says, it looks like feces. I don't know what it is. And it was moist. It wasn't full of water, but it was moist. And the pipe, the big fat pipe, I don't know if it had an end to it. Or I don't know what that pipe was. But anyway, we called the owner and we said, there's a big hole in there. That looks like, he says, oh, no, that's not. I said, well, what is it? I'm pretty sure I know when I see feces. What is it? And he said, no, that's not something water spilled over the washing machine. Something he said to me. So said to her. So the second visit that I went to, they had a young man there.
Mm-hmm.
They had an open house. He stayed in the kitchen area, and he said, all right, you can go look around the house. I said, but what's that down in the basement? He knew nothing. He knew nothing about this house. All he could say is, isn't that disgusting? but he wasn't going near it. But he had people, they had people coming in, going all around there. Needless to say, I didn't get any more involved in that situation. But I didn't realize there was a whole, I knew Granby Street had a problem and that they spent years in trying to fix that. And it's not fixed yet?
No.
Well,
It's not apparent. Well, I think some of it is fixed, but not to the degree that there's no issues. Here's former state representative Kenny Green, and what his testimony.
who is going to make me whole if my basement floods? Who is going to make these people whole who have suffered? And who is going to act on this now? We are not waiting for infrastructure money to come down the road. We are paying through the Clean Water Act in our bills every single month. Be late with your water bill and see what happens. COVID is over.
Hello, my name is Ken Green, and this is my house. This is my shed, my backyard, my neighbor's car. She lost 2 cars, I lost 1 car. I think that we need to hold everybody, they're listening tonight, but I think that we have to leave here with the agencies and the cities and the governmental agencies telling us what they're going to do. It's very easy for them to say, we hear you, and then we come back 6, 7 months later, and we're in the same spot. So we need action. We need more than just listening. So, for example, EPA, I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what role they have, but if they're looking at the sewer and the water and the health conditions in our community that's been going on a long time, I think through regulatory and permitting, they need to help us. And so the state, we know in the Blue Hills area that the state at the Park River can do something to help alleviate some of the water in the drain. So the state needs to go over there and do that. But when you talk to the state, they'll tell you it's MDC or the city. The city needs to have not only grants, but not only loans, but they need to give folks money, I believe, for anyone that wants a backwater valve or anybody that wants a sump pump, free of charge, and to make that available to anybody that wants it, and they should not have to take out any money. We've been fighting this for a long time. If you're on the Cleveland Avenue, Coventry Street, Main Street side of Blue Hills, if you're on the Granby Street side of Blue Hills, when that water comes, we're gonna get it. And we have been lucky in the past few years because of the 4-year project. When they tore up Granby Street, they began to separate the water from the sewer. So years ago, when I used to get water in the basement, I used to get the water in the sewer and the mold, and it's a lot of problems. It took a 3-year project on Granby Street. They did do some separation of the sewer and the water. So now when I get water, it's just water. I'm not satisfied with just it's water because I'm still getting leakage. So that has happened in our area. And I think in the Upper Albany area, in the Main Street area, we have got to do something to separate the water from the sewer, because that is health risk that is in our community. And regardless of the conditions of the road, Albany Avenue, Main Street, to me, with the technology, you could go in there and you could separate the water and the sewer. We're paying money every month. MDC might come to these forums and says, well, we're trying to separate the water and the sewer for you, community. They're not doing it for us. We're paying for that through the Clean Water Project money. So it's $1 billion project, but we're footing the bill. If there's money coming down from EPA, if this agency has anything to do with it, they should look at speeding up the water and the sewer separation. They should tell us what their role is with that and how much money they're giving to the city MDC and how that's going to help us. Give us a timetable. The state has some roles in this with some permitting and some regulations and cleaning up that overflow valve over in the Park River. The state has some responsibilities. There's monies that the city and the state can offer residents, I think, in grants and free of charge to solve some of these problems. So there's some solutions. I just think folks agencies and governmental agencies need to come out and say, this is what we're going to do, this is how you access it, and we're going to listen to you and we're going to act.
Thank you so much.
So, of course, this has been going on a long time. Yeah. Decades. This is not like a new problem, but the problem seems to be alleviated in other parts, like in Wethersfield, West Hartford, but yet the problem continues to continues in
they've alleviated
in our
those problems in those in the suburban towns.
Mm-hmm. So there's some
Doesn't it make you so
some clear issues there, but such is unfortunately the way of the world, I guess. So we'll see. So we'll continue to follow this story as more information. But watch the entire thing is 90 minutes. You can watch the entire 90 minutes of testimony before the MDC. Before the Environmental Protection Agency. Region 1 administrator was here. Mr. Cash. And just watch it. Watch it, and we'll keep you up to date.
Did he have any response to any of this, or did he just sit and listen and take his notes?
He sat, listened, took his notes. The woman sitting next to him is the environmental, I want to say environmental justice lawyer for the agency. Mm-hmm. They're all in this 100%. Stick and stay. We'll be right back.
Every bad political decision is made by a politician elected to office. So if you think your vote doesn't matter, just remember this. There are people sitting with politicians in a back room making deals about your future, making policies about your children, making decisions about your neighborhood. To them, you are just a vote. You are not their charity. You are not their cause. You are just a vote. Elections have consequences, and if you don't vote, you are actually voting to keep these people in power to work against you. Now, more than ever, you need to make your vote count. Declare your independence from the plantation of party politics and free your political mind.
All right, my friends, welcome back. It's Morning Talk. I'm your host, Jason McCauley, along with the champions of talk. And Cleo Duke-Wright is in the house with me this morning. So we continue on. Little Jay Hogarth in the background. Yeah, so what else is up, Miss Cleo?
What else is up?
Pull your mic up. Now, last we talked, it seemed to me, weren't you getting ready to go preach, or did you?
Oh, I did.
We haven't talked since then, have it?
Well, we talked a week after that I preached. I preached on the, oh gosh, I don't even know what day that was, what Sunday that was. But, you know, I get obsessed. You know, I study, I bring my books everywhere I go. I sit down, I read, I study the scripture, I write everything down, and and because I'm trying to get it inside of me. I'm trying to get it inside of me. So, and then when I get up on the pulpit, I guess the spirit just lets loose, and I try to read what I have written, but I can't. I read what's in the spirit. I read some of it, but I can't read my whole sermon. I can't, I get to a point where I just start talking.
Let the spirit take over.
Yes, but I gotta hold back the spirit because I don't know where it's going.
Well,
I don't know where you going.
This song in the background, you know the name of this is? This is the title track off the album. It's entitled Holy Spirit Consciousness. Oh. That's the name of the song playing in the background that Jay's doing.
Holy Spirit Consciousness.
Holy Spirit Consciousness.
Yeah, it just I say whoa. You're right. You're trying to tame a wild stallion. You really can't, and you don't know where it's going. And sometimes if I stop, I end there. I end it. Because it's probably not the right thing to do, but if I don't know where it's going, and I said, oh my gosh, what is this? So I think I gave a good message, and I think, and people told me that they received the message and thanked me for it. Of course, the preacher, you never really, preaching is storytelling, you lose yourself in storytelling the same way. You say you never know what they're getting, but they come up to you in earnest and say, thank you so much, I really needed that message, and you have no idea.
And that's
what part of it. Of course, it's none of your business. But you get
yeah.
You just give the word, and where it goes, it goes. And I've had people. It used to scare me. It doesn't scare me so much now. People used to come up to me after a storytelling, crying, and I would hold myself. I said, "Oh my gosh, what is this? Why is this person crying?" After it's all over, and I kind of used to back up because I didn't quite understand the crying, and they would cry and they would say, "You don't know, but thank you," and I would get hugs sometimes, and after a while, just accept it. Just accept it. You don't have to know exactly what it is that they're crying about, or all you know is they receive something, and that's a good thing. That's what you know. So,
well, that's very true. I know this week I did Light Source Victory Television Monday night. And it'll run for the rest of the week, I think. I might do one tonight. Continue. Hebrews chapter 12. And I got off the air and I'm like, that was the worst delivery that you've ever done. This was just, I was like, it is what it is. Just press on and move on, since and looking back. And so the response that it's gotten is blowing my mind, because I don't usually get a lot of response. I guess people watch. I don't know, but this I get all kind of response. One of my mentors was watching it. Come to find out, and so you never know. So
never
you know, just it's not about you. You know, it's not about the person delivering the message. It's about the one who's using you to deliver the message. It's like, you know, it's not about the paper or the envelope. It's about who wrote the letter and sent it to you. You know, it's like, wow, look at this nice paper and envelope. Well, yeah, but what about the message? You know, it's the message, not the parchment. And so if you have a pure heart and allow the Lord to use you, He'll use you. You don't have to worry about that.
You don't have to worry about that.
He'll do the rest.
That's all, and that's so. It still surprises me. It still amazes me.
It is.
A message comes out. You don't always. At least I don't always remember exactly what I said. I mean, I know the passage, I know the scripture. I don't exactly know how I said it, or all I know is it came out. It came out, and someone got something from it, and it was, and it really happens all the time.
Pull your mic up.
It really happens all the time. When I first started doing prayer for the African American Lions, I used to sit down. I used to go through prayers. I used to do this. I used to do that. You know, because I want my prayer to be relevant to what we do and who we are, and remind us every single week who we are and what our mission is. So I would just go through all of this stuff, and a couple of weeks ago, you know, it's good to study, you gotta say, but in my mind it said, cut it out. You know, I'm looking through these prayers, and all I can hear in my head is, cut it out. Go up there and pray for your people. Pray in earnest. So the first week I said, to pray in earnest. And so I said, you know, I want to be involved. I want them to be able to be open, so I could know what I should be doing, because if they don't give me anything, I don't know. So I started saying, you know, who would you like us to pray for? You know, this week, is there any prayer requests? And the first week, there was a prayer request. It was so long, I didn't have my pencil right there. So, oh my God, what am I going to do? So you go through all of this, and it starts getting easier and easier. I still go through many prayers, and I still go through all of that, but I don't bring it to I don't bring it to the table when someone asks me to pray. I don't. I just study, because people have to learn how to pray. I mean, it doesn't always, it comes so naturally, you know, and how to present themselves before God. That's God taught them. So we can't just get it out the air. And look how long it took him. It wasn't a minute. So people learn how to pray. Sometimes we get it from when we're tiny, we're little, we go to church, because this woman that walks around outside of my building and does things that she shouldn't be doing. She should be home with her children that she loves so very much, but she's not there yet. Let something happen in that street and let that woman start praying. Oh my goodness. The Lord has come down and touched you, honest to God. You know, and she spent her life in church. And she's out there doing this, that, and the other thing, but when she prays for you, she prays for you. So you don't ever know where you're going to get it. She didn't look it up in a book, but you need to look at things up. You need to learn, you know, but it's not necessarily you have to bring it to the table and pay attention to the page when I need to be paying attention to you. You know, and I'm standing up in front of you, and I'm going to pray for you, or I'm going to tell you a story, and I go out there and I just tell the story, blah 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 blah, and I don't look at you, because if I don't look at you and I don't see your movements, with your expressions, how you're smiling, your little boy or your little girl kind of moving around or something, and I'm not talking to you, what's the good? You know, it's not the paper that's the most important thing. It's the audience that's the most important thing. You know, so that's what I got, and I got that from storytelling, and you know, the gift of storytelling, and seeing seeing somebody at the corner of your eye may change a prayer, may change a word.
Yeah. Well, that's it. As you mentioned, you know, like when you're delivering a message or storytelling or talking to people. That's one nice thing about being in front of a live audience is the instant feedback you get as you look around the room, and you can see. Well, you can't obviously see what people are thinking. You can't see into their brains, but people talk with their expressions. And you can canvas the room as you're speaking. You know, you're looking around. You can see people are, you know, like, oh, you know, they roll their eyes, or they're got a question about them, or they amazed, or that's right, you know, all kinds of things.
Just know, if you've been up in front of an audience long enough, you know when you got them, and you know when you don't.
Yeah.
And I used to say, when I was up telling a story and I wasn't getting the audience, I don't know how fast it is. It must be seconds. And I'd say in my head, oh, I got to change this up. You know,
we're going downhill real quick here.
We're going downhill. So I would have to change it up. And sometimes you got the little one. You got the little kid there that won't sit still. All of a sudden, he's the most important person in the room, and I got to get him. So I go after him. And I go after him hard. I mean, I may make all kinds of motions and all kinds of things and look him in his face and do all kinds of things, because at that particular moment in the story, I need him to settle and listen and maybe make it a little easier for his parent or something. So I go after him, you know, and that's the kid that's gonna come up to you after the story's over, and just and try to act out something, or you know, you're walking out of a room, and all of a sudden, some little tiny hand takes your hand and walks with you, and kid doesn't say anything. He just takes your hand. And he's gonna, and she or he and walks with you. And you just walk with him, and then he sees his parent or something, and he goes about their business, and you know, it's amazing. It's amazing, but it's not you. It's not me, because I truly don't know this is gonna happen. It's not a plan or anything. It's just something that happens, and I guess most people who public speak in any way know this.
Yeah, well, you know, when you do public speaking, depending upon what kind it is, they say, well, it's not they say, it is. I think it's rated as, it's definitely in the top 5. I want to say number 1, but I'll say top 5. Things that people are most terrified of doing in public speaking is right up there on the list. People are terrified to speak, frightened to speak in front of crowds, and so whether you're speaking in front of a crowd that you can see on television, that you can see, or on television, or on radio, or at a very small gathering. Like sometimes someone will say, well, will you say prayer for us, or say the grace, you know? And you're like, oh my gosh, why are you calling me, you know? people's hearts are pounding because they got to give the prayer. It's the public speaking aspect of it. But after a while, you get used to it.
That's right.
And you can read the room. But I always get nervous if I have to speak someplace. Always have, always will. Now, after the first 10 to 15 seconds, I'm good.
Yeah, well, that's,
I'm good. But before then, the anticipation up to the moment can be just put you on. I've had to literally sit on the ground because I couldn't stand up.
The most nervous I ever got, and I think you were there, and to this day, I do not know why I was so nervous, is when I
remember this.
I have no idea why that happened. But I was nervous for what? I have no idea why I was so nervous. And I told them, don't move. I said, don't have anyone do anything. Don't play your music. Don't do anything while I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. And that lady got up and danced and did all of that. And I actually, I couldn't get it. But I was always at awe. Who was the lady who gave that? She passed away now.
The
jazz.
Not the women of color. The women. Jazz. It was a jazz event for women of color.
Yes, and I was always at awe.
I'm gonna look it up.
Not Jean. I was afraid of her for some reason, and I don't even know why. But when I first opened the bookstore, she came up and she said, "Now, don't do this and don't do that and blah blah this and blah blah that," and she was very stern, and she made me very nervous. She always made me very nervous. I would think I was more nervous of her than I was of doing it, because I have not ever been that nervous since. And she actually paid me, and I was so embarrassed to take the money, but I took it. But I was really embarrassed.
I'm trying to look up her.
She gave the jazz thing every year.
Every year. Yeah. The one you're referring to happened at
Faith Church.
Faith Church.
Yes.
Yeah. I think my wife was emceeing.
Yes, that year. She was there. I couldn't sleep. I would say in my sleep, I'd get up in the middle of the night, and I could, what in the world is wrong with me? And to this day, I don't know exactly what was wrong with me on that. Oh, she asked me, she wanted me to rehearse. I do not rehearse. I do not like rehearsing. And I said, no, I can't do that. I don't rehearse. It's just a superstition with me, mm-hmm. that I'll perform better
at the rehearsal
than I do. Yeah. So I said, no, I'm not rehearsing. I've studied. I've said it out loud by myself. I'm not going to do that. Mm-mm.
I always find it best to be well versed in the subject matter, so therefore you know what you're talking about, as opposed to memorizing what you're going to say. Know what you're talking about.
It makes you something. I tell people that storytelling is not acting. Mm-hmm. They're two totally different things. In acting, you have certain things you do at certain times. You study everything, expression, where you stand, how you bend, what you know. But a storyteller gets up there. This is the kind of storyteller I am. And I just tell you the story. Most of the time, I'm not going to use a prop. I'm just going to tell you the story, and I pray to God your mind is active.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see the pictures and see the story and make your own images. I just pray that you could do that. That's when I don't like to give people images. I like them to create their own images.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because people gave us images, and they weren't about us or for us or anything. So I don't like it. You know how many colors and cultures and whatever that Cinderella looks like or Prince Charming looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to give you a picture of Prince Charming. I'm going to describe Prince Charming, and you're going to make him your Prince Charming or your Cinderella or your beautiful African, whatever. You're going to do it.
The many colors of a woman.
That's right.
I knew it was women, colors, something like that. Many colors of a woman. Nikki Mathis.
Nikki, right.
Nick
right.
Mathis,
Nikki
yeah.
Mathis.
Yeah, she was a phenomenal woman.
Yes, she was.
Great voice, great singer. And she used to do the jazz concert series every year.
Every year.
It was an annual event.
Yes.
I taped them. They were really good. We had to play some of her music. Some of those events. I'll pull some of those out.
I have some of her tapes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the many colors of a woman jazz festival.
Yes.
And this one here, 19. This is Act 2 of 12. This was in 2013 that we did this one, and this particular one was 33. This was the 33rd.
The one that I did with her?
I don't know where this one was. This doesn't look like it was at Faith Congregational. Let me see if you're in here. This one was it was the longest running jazz festival celebrating jazz, women, and their music, featuring Nick Mathis.
She gave. I went to one. I wasn't in it, but I went to one at Weaver High School.
This one is at Weaver.
Is it Weaver?
It looks like it's Weaver to me. Yeah, this is the old Weaver. Yeah. This is yeah. I love jazz. It was up to me. Only jazz would play. This was September the 7th, 2013. And, yeah. This is, wow. So what is this? This is 2023. 23. So this is 10 years ago. 23, yeah.
And she died, what, in the last couple of years?
Yeah. Yeah. It's February the 10th. My daughter's birthday is today.
That's when she passed?
No. I was saying my daughter's birthday is today.
Oh, it's
2010.
Today. Oh.
I mean, February the 10th. She's 12.
That's your youngest daughter.
My youngest daughter, yeah. She turned 12. Her sister calls her a tween. She's going to be a tween. A tween. Okay.
My granddaughter, when she turns, I can remember saying when I turned 13, and I kept saying, I'm 13. I just emphasized that teen. And my granddaughter, when she turned 13, she says, I'm a teenager. I'm 13. I said, oh my goodness. So I said to her birthday is on the 8th of February. Mm-hmm. So I said, oh, now you're 14. She says, Grandma, I'm 15. I said, oh my God, you're 15, you're going to be 20 in 5 years. Oh my goodness, you're going too fast. Yeah. But she, they're so grown up.
Being a teen, yeah. Seven. My daughter's 7 is 13. Her birthday was October the 10th. They're both born in the 10th. 10, 10, and 210.
10, 10, and 210.
10, 10, and 210. Today is Nia's birthday. And so I have an issue because they're an interesting pair. They're very different from one another. One's very in charge and bossy. The other one is very supportive and loving and caring, and you know. Mm-hmm. And so, the
sounds like Ernest and me. Oh my gosh!
It is like you were. It is like you and your sister. Yeah, 7 is the bossy one.
My sister was very bossy. Yep.
She's like a mini adult, and but today is her little sister Nia's birthday, but we're supposed to go out for hamburgers and French fries today, because 7. I promised them. I promised 7 that if it reached 59 degrees today, we would go to Ted's.
Did it reach 59?
It's going to get warm today. It's going to be nice. So if the temperature goes up, which it will, we're going to go to Ted's. We're going to Ted's. But you have to nuance this because it's the special day for Nia. And, you know, if we're going to Ted's because 7 wants to go to Ted's, then it becomes an issue if Nia doesn't want to go to Ted's. You know, because I can't take 7 to Ted's on Nia's birthday.
Right.
Because this will create massive tension that I have to deal with. And
did the little one want to go?
I don't know. I'll have to talk to her. You know, we're going to go to Ted's. I'll make it exciting. You know, we're going to stop and get you something special. But I have to do this the right way. Because if you don't do this right, you know, we're talking about reading a crowd within the first, 5 seconds. 13 seconds, you're done. Yeah. But, you know, 5 seconds, you really hit this crowd good. You get look at the crowd. The same thing with them. If you don't do it right, then it goes into, fine, man. Now you're jammed up. They get the attitude. And then once 7 gets an attitude, the pile on. Oh, goodness. Now, Nia is an expert at needling. She'll needle her sister. Once she knows she's under her skin, she'll keep going. And so it'll get ugly quick.
Oh, my God.
Quick. This is the wonderful world of parenting. But there's no greater child than your house. As we started off the conversation, your house demands your full attention all the time, and it will cry out if you don't give it attention, it'll punch back at you.
Yes. And if you give it attention, it will love you, and you can walk into your house and enjoy your house because it will take care of you. Mm-hmm. You take care of it, it will take care of you. So it's almost alive. When I was a little girl, I thought everything was alive. I just thought everything could hear and everything could feel. And I talked to, the grass. Some days I would want to step on the grass. I talk to the grass. But the favorite thing that I talk to is I talk to the trees. I used to say, how much do you know? You're 100 years old. You must know a lot. What do you know? And I did a program in Sunday school. I think it was a summer program with Center Church. Mm-hmm. And the park is right across the street. So we all picked a tree. Our own special tree. And every Sunday they would run over to their trees and give their trees a big hug and all of that stuff. And they brought into my nonsense or creativity, I don't know, but they bought into it. But I always thought that trees had lots of knowledge and they knew a lot of things, and I love to sit under the tree because everything's alive. If it's growing, it's alive.
If it's growing, it's alive, and
it has there is a consciousness. Everything that grows has some kind of consciousness, not like yours, but It has a consciousness. Like they were talking about a tree, and a tree was way over here, and there was the well or some water way over here. Well, you know, them branches went after that water. The tree was here, but its branch was way over there, and they had to bring the motor rooter people in to untangle the tree roots from where it had entangled itself. But you know, it goes where it goes, and it has a consciousness. And I think if you really tried, we could talk to a tree.
Well, you know, there may be some truth to that.
Yes.
There may be some truth to that. All right. Well, my friends, we're out of time. We'll see you next time. You tune in Monday through Saturday right here. Actually, that's not true. Every morning at 8 and every evening at 8, tune in for Morning Talk. And so if we're not live, it's a repeat. But there's always something good to talk about. All right. So you all have a fabulous rest of your day. Miss Cleo, thanks for stopping by once again.
Oh, you're welcome. Nice being here always.
It's always good to have you here. All right, my friends, we will see you next time. We'll go out listening to a little jazz with Professor Dr. J. Hogarth. Y'all have a blessed rest of your day.